It was divinely orchestrated spiritual intervention that got me back into singing, and it really saved my life. I was just riding my horse through the rural neighborhood and heard a band in the distance practicing. I found the garage, a mic in my hand for the first time in 20 years. It helped me bring my spirit back into my body in a way that being in residence, I was able to think clearly and be empowered enough to gather myself. It helped me leave a relationship that was devastatingly disempowering. The first wave, I was like angry. I was just like, oh my God. I felt more compassion for all the people involved. Even people that slandered me. The underworld was really dark. I was in the dark, like gathering my power. I've got goosebumps right now. It's so profound to really grasp that we're all going to die. We're going to cross that veil. Really, it's like a plea for us to do our work and to just be present and self-aware so that we can really enjoy the collaborations and the blessings that we're given.
Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of People's Solutions Webcast. I'm really excited about today's episode. We have in the room with us today. We have a really amazing person that I feel honored that I know her personally, and I'm going to try to not just stay sort of nervous on the personal level, because we're approaching her today at a professional level. This woman is amazing. She was a rock and roller as a youth and a mother of two for years, got back into rock and roll later, successful businesswoman, and now an author of a book that I think just fits right in with what we're talking about here with People's Solutions so much. It's just riddled with inspirations and story and personality, which I think is going to lead us into some fun conversation over the course of the next half hour. And so I'm really excited to introduce you all to Natasha Neece, who's just recently written a book called Rise Up and Rock, A Front Woman's Journey. And I'm really excited about exploring some of the themes that are in this book, including this huge piece of women's empowerment and what type of leadership can come from a book and a story like this.
Yeah. Yeah. And Natasha, I'm just really excited for our audience today to get to know you as a person because as Ed said, we both know you on a personal level, and we're so excited to share our knowledge of you with the greater world. And I know you've already got a fan base, and there's people out there who are watching or listening to this that haven't yet met you. So I'm just really excited to give our audience a chance to get to know you today. And then also, I mean, I'm just excited to hear about your take on female leadership.
Thank you. I'm super stoked to be here. I love both of you.
Well, hi, Natasha. Welcome to the room. So let's just launch into what is it that made you want to write a book after everything else that you've done? Why write a book?
Well, I had never thought about writing a book before. It was not a goal. But after the experience that I had, I felt like it really needed to be documented. So much happened, and it was such a rich slice of life. There were so many human dynamics in there that I felt to share could be really entertaining for sure, but also potentially um, inspiring for people to really reflect on their own relationships with themselves first and foremost, and with those around them that they love and also are collaborating with, business wise or artistically. But just in any kind of relationship, communication is involved, and that's really the basis of everything.
It sounds like the very writing of the book must have been quite a process. You say you didn't plan on writing a book, and yet you have a book coming out in a few days. What? Tell me about how that happened.
Well, it got to be to a point that there's a real arc in the whole story, sort of a heroine's journey, And
Hmm.
at one point, I stopped. I had to step back from the band to really get out of the dynamic that was sort of a cycle that was really like re-triggering wounds for me. I needed to step out so that I could really look at myself and potentially step back in with a different dynamic. So, but I wasn't really planning on that. I was like, I'm focusing on myself now. I'm prioritizing myself. And I loved the band so much, though, and the whole vision that I had to move the energy of that love somehow. I had to, um, yeah, I was just really holding a lot and I needed to get it out for closure. And also, just almost like I said in the book, it was like writing love letters to the band and ultimately to myself. It gave me a
Hmm.
way to stream my devotion to the band every day. And that's what I did. I wrote every day until the whole story of 6 years and 75 shows was written. And
Wow.
yeah, it was definitely an amazing experience. And it gave me more than just closure and something to do to still feel like I was loving the band. So that was a nice.
I've seen pictures of you in your youth as the front woman, as a lead singer for some bands that I think I seem to remember seeing a picture some time ago of like you at the Whiskey years ago in what late '80s or something, and then you at the Whiskey just a couple years ago. And there was a lot of years in between where I know you raised some children and ran successful businesses and all kinds of things. So, in a thumbnail, how did we get to this story of the book? Right? Where does the book launches into this process of being a member of this band a few years ago? Get us to there real quickly.
You're correct, and yes, I was in bands for about 2 decades, starting as a teen, never out of a band, and then for about 2 decades, I raised my sons as a single mom, and then I would say it was divinely orchestrated spiritual intervention that got me back into singing, and it really saved my life. It gave me the empowerment and the realignment with my spirit and a part of me that was such a huge it was such a huge part of my identity as Natasha Neece, as a personality, as an ego, um, and it just really gave me the power that I needed to be able to leave a relationship that was devastatingly disempowering. And
Wow.
not only just because I actually hadn't started with the band during that time, but just starting to sing again and practice and feel the breath, it helped me bring my spirit back into my body in a way that being in residence, I was able to think clearly and be empowered enough to gather myself and leave a relationship that had me completely outside of myself, very fractured off from who I really was.
Yeah, the power of relationship to support and pull apart. A relationship can do
Oh,
amazing things to a person.
indeed.
Um, so my next question, you've kind of leaned into the next question was going to be like, what exactly, if there wasn't exactly, what led you back to performing after being a single mom for all those years?
Mhm. Well, again, the divine intervention aspect was I was just riding my horse through the rural neighborhood and heard a band in the distance practicing, and I knew what that was. And so, over a matter of days, I found the garage. And then over a matter of several more days, I would ride by there every day. And then one day I was lucky enough to see them outside during break. And I went and introduced myself. And I didn't know if maybe they would dismiss me and be like, "Oh yeah, she's a singer" or whatever. But they were super cool, and they invited me in to this tiny little clammy beer smelling space, where the music was too loud and everybody loved it, and all this banter, and then the falling in of sync with the musicians. And I was just like, "Oh my goodness, yes!" A mic in my hand for the first time in 20 years, and
Yeah.
just started to sing um, Barracuda by heart and Fairies Wear Boots by Black Sabbath, and then Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, they invited me to sit in with them one time, and then one thing led to another. I didn't end up staying with those guys, but they got me back into singing.
So you're
Mhm.
telling me that you were out there riding your horse and you just heard music on the wind and followed it and then ended up singing classic rock songs, and that's what got you back into singing after 20 years off? That is like, okay, when you said divine intervention, I had my own thoughts of what that would be, but this is like a Disney princess divine intervention meets rock story. This is so,
That's what
that's
the
really
whole
awesome.
book is like.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it really is. My editor was like, he used some term. I need to get the term about exactly that, like that it has like this whole overlay of sort of fairy tale,
Mhm.
which I really love. I mean, that's part of who I am. Is I try to live in that world as much as possible.
And it sounds like there's like this fairy tale mixed with insane amounts of complexity and this personal reflection theme that's in there. I love that so much that you started this journey with a desire to work out your own understanding of what was going on, kind of just like, I just need to get this out. I just need to move this love, as you
Mhm.
said.
Mm.
And the moving of that love led to the writing of this book, which is this like self discovery, self reflection saga that is just as magical as it is probably filled with, I don't know, I almost want to say like irritating bullshit because people can be irritating sometimes.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But it's,
yeah. There was like
yeah,
every different kind of negativity that could happen, which was why it was such a rich slice of life.
yeah.
Um, but yes, like as far as the self reflection piece, as I was writing, I learned so much through writing, and it truly did give me um, closure on an exponential level. In that I wasn't just journaling and writing it down to get it out. I then, because I wanted to publish it, had to edit it and read it over again and read it with a different lens and read it with a different lens. And my editor, Zach Bohanna, he asked a lot of really good questions like, how else did you feel? And can you expand on this? And is that really how you feel? And is that the best word for that? And it caused me to really, really get so clear. And each time that I read it over, I had a different wave of realization hit and healing. The first wave, I was
Mm.
like angry. I was just like, "Oh my god, I can't. This is." And then the second wave was like self-respect, self-love. Like, wow, Natasha, golly, that was
Mm.
you did a good job with that. In
Mhm.
a deep way, to be able to write it and then step back and have it reflected is very powerful. And then like a few more times as I was reading it through, I was like, okay, I felt more compassion for all the people involved, even people that slandered me and betrayed me and all kinds of really devastating things, even on a public scale. It went to almost witch hunt erasure for a while. That was like in the underworld, like the in the whole hero's journey. The underworld was really dark, and that was where I was really I was in the dark, like gathering my power. I've got goosebumps right now, and making the power moves to come back up and fight the threshold guardians, and then come back out into the light. The compassion that I felt for these people, even all the people, and then I actually softened some of the language in the book,
Mhm. Mhm.
which that in itself was really healing for me because ultimately I would love to have resolution with every single one of these people that were involved in the band. Not so much the relationship I left; I don't ever need that. But um, yeah, I loved all the band members, and I was very hurt by a lot of the things that happened. So anyway, the compassion aspect, and then um, I had to send out release forms to everyone that was in the story, especially the main characters. And there was healing with that too, because it sparked a couple conversations that that leaned into resolution,
Mm.
um, which was really, really beautiful for my heart.
Fascinating experience that you got to sort of go through the growth process from two different perspectives. The
Yeah,
the one of living through it, and then this other one of deeply reviewing it.
yeah.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. And then I guess that the culmination of that is what shows up in the book. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, because
that's fascinating.
as I was editing it, I was continuing to change and change and change as my growth experience was occurring.
Wow, complex. I'm super anxious to read this thing.
Yeah, it's really
That
good.
Yeah. Neat. So tell us about the band. I think our audience doesn't know at this point what the band is.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness, the band is a Led Zeppelin tribute.
uh, uh,
Yeah, and um, you know, it's interesting because my experience, the experience of the book, and the experience that I was curating in the shows, especially the theater shows, was about the hero's journey. And so our shows were very theatrical, lots of different outfit changes, wardrobe changes. For our full theater shows, we had 9 wardrobe changes. I had,
mm,
and that was really, I was really leaning into the symbolism of the different archetypes. And that's one of the great things about Led Zeppelin, is that they're super mythic, and
Mm.
their songs are not only multi genre, but really span like the full experience of the human, or the full span of the human experience. There's so many emotions, and there's so much tenderness, and so
Mm.
much, all everything, all the different kinds of emotions. So to create that into an arc of a story of a show um, was really a unique approach to a rock concert. I wanted to touch people, you know.
yeah,
It
yeah,
it wasn't just about like partying, you know.
yeah.
Led Zeppelin gives you that opportunity to really, really touch people, and that's one of the reasons why
Mhm.
they're the greatest rock band of all time. I mean, they changed the world at the
Yeah,
time that they were uh, playing live, and people still love Led Zeppelin. Even kids. You know,
Having been in a Led Zeppelin tribute band for 6+ years, what were some moments during that time and during some of your performances where you're just like, this song is speaking to an experience I've had, or the emotion that I feel when I sing this song is is changing me as a person? Like, can you think of any of those moments where you had those like
yeah,
just almost esoteric or mythical experiences while singing?
so many. I don't even know where to begin. Um, there's one song that's like a fusion of blues and gospel called "In My Time of Dying,"
Mm.
and uh, Robert Plant is just wailing out to the great mystery, just saying, "When I die, just take my body home." And like,
mhm.
Mm.
it's so it's so profound to really grasp that we're all going to die. I mean,
Yeah.
how crazy is that?
Mhm.
Um, and to really get real with that, even for just a few minutes during the song. I during our theater shows, I used a black veil. I wore all black, translucent, like long sleeves, translucent, with a black veil over my face. And it's a thing. We're gonna cross that veil, all of us. And one time I was singing, the intro is just over slide guitar with no drums or bass, and um, there's really potent pauses between the lines. And one time I heard, in the pause, I heard a woman that was standing right against the stage say, "This is blowing my mind." And I was like, yes, that's the power of what I'm trying to do
Mhm.
here. So there's that. Of course, there's Stairway to Heaven.
Mhm.
I mean, what an epic guide to enlightenment. And the way that
Mm.
the whole song is symbolic, and so it's a I have 2 chapters in my book devoted to Stairway to Heaven.
I one of the times that I saw you, I traveled several hundred miles down to Southern California, and I went and grabbed a couple friends of mine from high school, and we came down to see you. And that was a really nice theater show. It was a great setting. The tech was great. The sound was amazing. And the one lady that I was with is a big Led Zeppelin fan, and she was super moved. There were several times during the show she's like reaching across her husband and me, just like to hold our arm, go, oh, you get this, and it was really fun to see that kind of, I was there for it. It was moving, truly, truly.
Thank you. Yeah. And there's the happy-go-lucky songs, that just make you feel like a kid again, like you don't have any cares in the world, and it's just about sitting on the mountainside and puffing a little or whatever you do, and with your friends, and putting daisies in your hair and all that. That's also a real thing, to be carefree.
And so then in the later process of you going through the book and stuff, did you interact with those previous members much? And when you're going through the editing process, did you talk to them about things?
Oh yeah, I'm really good friends with a lot of them still,
Uh-huh.
and I some of them wrote pieces for the book. My drummer Kevin, who I adore, he did the cover of the book, and he did beautiful posters for us all through all the posters that you see in the back there. You can't see them very well, but
Uh,
they're really nice.
uh-huh.
Um, Kevin wrote a few, excerpts, several paragraphs each, which I really loved. Kevin and I, he actually writes about that. We both write about that in the book. That he was a drummer, so he's kind of in drumland. Like the three of us are up front having fun, but he's kind of, a little left out. And so oftentimes I would turn my back to the audience and go and stand right in front of him and like dance,
Mm.
and we would just lock eyes and move and dance, and it was just like, oh yeah, this is it.
Uh-huh.
This
Mm.
this is it. This is
Uh-huh.
why we do everything that we do, to be in the music and with each other, and so much love and appreciation. Yeah, so much blessing. I have goosebumps on that one.
Nice.
That's
Awesome.
awesome.
Awesome. This is such a fun story to explore, the way that you lived it and then wrote it, so that I can talk to you about almost like these different time periods and certainly different levels of like when you were experiencing it. So, like the question I just asked about the band members, that was while you're experiencing it, then writing it. And I guess there's even a third, which is now that it's written and the book is out there. What is it that you would hope readers might get from this book? What would you hope that somebody who's reading this might pick up or experience or learn?
um, Laughter,
Yeah,
um, uh, entertainment, um,
yeah.
but mostly self-reflection, because yeah, there's just so many different ways of expressing our woundedness evident in this book.
Hmm.
I think a lot of us were acting through insecurity, but that was showing in a lot of different ways. It
Mm.
all comes back to self love, right? Um, so
Yes.
I think that hopefully readers can identify with with a lot of things. Possibly ways that they're acting out and um, out of woundedness, insecurity, whatever, um, that is sabotaging them. Because I see that throughout the book and with myself as well, how um, we often sabotaged ourselves and the experience, whether it be just the show or the whole thing, um, which is sad. Um, so really, it's like a plea for us to do our work and to just be present and self-aware, so
Mm.
that we can really um, enjoy the collaborations and the blessings that we're given in this free world that we're in, to be able to create things like this.
It's so far, it's without even reading the book yet, it's already really inspiring to take the opportunity, take the time to explore my own writings. I have journals and things that I have never looked back at,
Mhm.
and that I would, this is like, "Wow, I should dig back and see what kind of growth there may be for me. Look at, so what kind of reflections could I have by taking a look at and maybe editing down some of my old journals and things that I was experiencing so long ago. It's inspiring thinking about the process.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for that.
yeah, of course.
Hmm.
Natasha Neece, inspiring self-reflection, as a bold, badass feminine leader would do.